Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to another episode of our HAAS playthrough here on F1 Manager. It's round 21, the penultimate race of the first season. We are heading to the Autodromo José Carlos Pase in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Oh, it should be an interesting race. We are yet to make a decision on Mick. We have been trying to re-sign him, but I've been toying with the idea, as you know, of replacing him, and I think we're going to have to wait until the end of the season now. We've made multiple attempts to sign him to a new contract, and he's turned every one of them down. We haven't come to terms yet. We've only got 2 races left. Let's see, it is the 11th of November. We've got 50 days left before his contract expires. It's not long. And only 3 weeks of the season left. 2 weeks or 1 week left of the season after this. That is the final race in 1 week's time, Abu Dhabi, and then our board review is a couple of weeks after that. So, yeah, there we go. There's our board assessment. So we're almost at the end of everything here with this season. There's not a lot left. But this is a circuit that, again, I think we could do very well at. We'd take a look at the sections by speed. It is a very fast circuit. There's a lot of slow stuff which isn't the best for us, but some very fast sections, a couple of medium speed corners. We take a look at the performance of the car. There you can see the slow stuff, not brilliant. The medium stuff, a little bit better. The high speed's really good, but there's only one real high speed corner, so that's not the greatest, but we do have good straight line speed. We are 5th in terms of top speed, which is definitely going to help us. And I think this is a circuit that, assuming we can look after his tyres, Oscar could do very well at. Mr. Water, Farah, Trucker, good to see you guys. How you doing? Right, let's take a quick overview of where we are. So this is the penultimate race of the season, as we said. We have got a fight on our hands over the next 2 races with Mercedes to hold on to 3rd spot. And in the Drivers' Championship, we're kind of fighting the Mercedes in the Drivers' Championship as well. Sergio Perez, I think, is probably a little bit too far ahead for us to try and haul in. I mean, even if we were to actually win 2 races back to back, the most points Oscar could get would be 52 points if he were to win and fastest lap in both races. And if Perez didn't score, it still wouldn't be enough. It would be just short. So Oscar is fighting Lewis for P5 and Mick is fighting George Russell for P7. So it's a fight with Mercedes all the way across the board here. Let's take a quick look at development. We have 2 projects currently going through. One is a front wing project, the next is an underfloor project which finishes in 8 days. That will leave time for one final bit of research. Still need that extra upgrade to our facility which is going through. That's not going to come until the end of the year. So we will have that for season 2. But it won't play a part this year, unfortunately. So we need to think: do we keep a bit of cash back, or do we spend some on another upgrade? Upgrading the suspension simulator could definitely be useful. We could definitely do with a brake upgrade, but I mean, if we upgrade this now at 40 days, we will have that in time for next season's car. But that money could be needed elsewhere. So, given that it's only a minor upgrade, it's only going to give us an extra 2% on our brake cooling. I'm going to save the money in that respect. Let's check our other facilities. They're fine operationally. We've got an upgrade on the boardroom. There's nothing else that needs an upgrade. So, yeah, we'll hang on to that money and look at a driver swap potentially at the end of the season. I do want to change some of the staff as well at the end of the season. Jorn Becker needs to go. Aaron Melvin probably needs to go as well. So yeah, a little bit of restructuring needed over the winter. Let's set our targets for the race. 1 driver into Q3 is easily achievable. 2 maybe not so much, so I'm just going to go with 2 in the top 12 because I'm not sure how well Mick's going to do here. 2 into Q2 is a straightforward thing to do. Finish position 1 in the top 12, that's easily achievable. Guarantee position, I don't think we've got the pace for the fastest lap here, so I'm not going to risk giving away some money. And we can just get 1 more streak in, a 2 race streak. So we will go 2 drivers finishing in the top 12 just for a little bit of extra cash. Okay, off we go to Brazil.
The carnival atmosphere has already started here in Sao Paulo as Brazil welcomes the Formula One Grand Prix. The Autodromo José Carlos Pache has been a staple of the racing calendar for decades, and soon we'll once again be watching the best drivers in the world give it their all. The Sao Paulo track is beautifully designed to present an enticing challenge for teams and drivers alike. Between medium-speed S-corners, hill climbs, and the high-speed section after Junção, this circuit calls for cars to have a balanced setup to succeed here. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Oh, we have very wet practice and potentially wet qualifying as well. I was planning on giving Logan a run in the car, but given the weather, I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Yeah, screw it. We'll give Logan a run in place of Mick. Right, I've got some setups to work from. First things first, though, we do need to swap out some parts. So we'll put in an old engine. We'll leave that ERS module in, that's fine. We will change out the gearbox. We'll go with a 21 lap run. And in terms of setup, let's go with that. Driving options, drop that down, and then for Oscar's car, a little bit less option on parts. We did buy a new engine recently, so we've got a brand new engine for these last 2 races. That's good. I'm going to switch to this engine here at 72% for the qualifying, for practice. This will be our backup engine, so if we have a nasty shunt in the race and we lose this engine, which would be disastrous, this will be our engine for Abu Dhabi. So we'll see how that goes. Let's drop in a new ERS module, and we'll stick with that gearbox. That'll be fine. Again, we're going to go with a 21 lap run. We're going to drop the pace, and in terms of car setup, I'm going to go something a little bit different. Let's go with a 2.8, a 3.45, and a 0.5. Everything there is in tolerance. Okay, so let's head into FP1 and see how quickly that rain's going to turn up.
Radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, no rain in this session. There's another reason I decided to put Logan in the car. Well, there's two reasons really. One is this is technically kind of a home race for Logan. I mean, it's just across the border. Well, I say across the border. It's South America, so it's the same sort of region. You know, it's the southern continent of the Americas. So it's kind of close to a home circuit, as is Mexico. You know, and obviously he's got 2 home races on the calendar in Miami and Texas. 3 next year with the inclusion of Las Vegas. But I also wanted to assess his pace against Oscar. Wanted to see how competitive he is in comparison to Oscar in terms of pace. Because he is also a potential for the seat next year as well. So I want to give him a fair shake, see how he does. Let's take a look at the engine power levels. So
keep focus.
He's only got a 46% engine against a 72% engine, so there should be a bit of a dip, but there is a little bit of a dip in performance there as well on the ERS module against a clear ERS on Logan's car. So it should balance out a little bit. And so far, they do seem to be running pretty similar lap times. There's a few tenths between them, which is kind of what I expected, but there's a few tenths between Oscar and Mick, so now that he's not running in Oscar's slipstream, let's just slow it down a little bit. He is getting harried and hassled a little bit. Norris will get past him. Okay, so it's about half a second, 0.6 of a second. That's a little bigger than I thought it was going to be. Oh, and he's spun again.
Here's the replay. Now just focus on the HAAS. And yes, that's where they spin out. No. That's going to be a big blow to the team.
Congrats on your first win there, Farah. Yeah, the Red Bulls do kind of drive themselves in the first season.
Just had a spin.
They are, you know, very, very good cars. It's the same with the Ferraris. I mean, if you remember, we were doing our Forza Ferrari series, which we scrapped pretty quickly because this was back pre-patch on the tyres. We were just absolutely walking over everybody, you know, finishing almost a minute clear by Imola. At Australia, I think it was. We just had so much pace. I mean, I remember at Jeddah, we just walked Jeddah with no real issue whatsoever. So yeah, the Ferrari and Red Bull, you can just walk those opening races relatively easily. When the upgrades start coming in, that's when you start getting reeled in a little bit by the AI, but it all depends on how you're upgrading your own car at the same time. It's not as easy now as it used to be, obviously with the change to the tyre wear, but it's a good place to start. You know, if you're trying the game for the first time, it's a good place to start because you don't have that pressure of if you make a mistake, that's it, your race is completely screwed. You know, you've got the pace and the car to fight your way back up if you mess up on strategy or you know, you put the wrong tyres on or something like that. You know, it gives you, you know, or if you take too much fuel out and then you have to fuel save, you've got enough pace in hand to be able to react and accommodate the error. Okay, we've got 87% on Oscar's car. That's pretty good. 71% on Logan's car. That is not so good. So let's call Logan in.
Entry. Copy.
And then we are all the way down the bottom of the garage. Or the last garage in the pit lane. So where are we going wrong here? Quite a lot, actually. Okay, so let's try converting over onto what we put Oscar onto, and that is still outside of tolerances. So let's work on that a bit more. Let's pull that to there. I need to push that out. No, that needs to stay about there. Just pull that in, do that. Rear wing is going to need to change. Do I go 13 or do I go 12? Yeah, let me try a different method. Let me try doing something like this. Okay, that looks a bit better. The tyre camber's slightly off, so if I tweak it to there, pull that in a little bit. Yeah, let's try that. You eat the big boxes of Maltesers, the 300 gram box. Yeah, I buy I buy myself those, a couple of those when I get my my fortnightly shopping, and they don't last long. Right, let's reconfigure Oscar's car. The rear wing's off, so we'll change that to a 13. The roll bar is okay. Need to adjust the front wing a little bit. Okay, I'm going to give that a go. And let's see how we get on this way.
We've just had a car run wide. Someone's run wide.
don't go into the wall. Nope, he didn't. I was looking at the wrong driver. That's good.
Oh, big lock up there.
Okay, so that's 2 spins and a lockup for Logan so far.
Sounds like a spin.
All in one session. That's not a great audition. Maybe he's feeling the pressure, knowing that we haven't re-signed Mick yet. Sensing that there's an opportunity for a seat.
I think someone's run wide.
Okay, we've got the car up to 92%. That's pretty good. Need to pull the front wing in a bit. I don't know if that's enough of a change. There we go. So that keeps the integrity of the traction and the cornering. Gives us a small change to oversteer, a small change to braking, and a tiny little change which should be all that's needed for the straights. That should be a 100% setup. We haven't got time to test it in this session, but we will get it set up ready for Mick to jump straight in that. And we got Oscar straight up to 100% with that little tweak. That's excellent. So there we go. Given that we've got rain, which is going to affect our running and gaining of track knowledge in the next session, that's a very strong start. We've potentially got rain in session 3 as well, or quali, or both. So getting track knowledge could be quite tricky here. Right, into practice 2. Oh, we're on full wets. Okay, so it's going to be very wet. I'm going to put a lot of fuel in the car. Let's see, it's a quick lap, so I'm going to go with 46 laps of fuel. Drop the pace down. Actually, it's wet, isn't it? So it'll be a bit slower. Let's go with 44 laps of fuel. Same for Oscar. Actually, I'll go 40 laps. Oscar doesn't need to run as hard because he's already got some track knowledge built up from the last session. Okay, so it's going to start very wet, get drier, and then the rain's going to ease off towards the end of the session. So let's get our guys out now and get them running as long as possible. We might not even come in for inters, you know, if it gets a bit touch and go. In fact, looking at the weather, I probably should have just gone straight out on inters. I'm going to call them in and put them onto a set of inter tyres. Shouldn't have sent them out on wets. I didn't look at the actual water level, I just looked at the graph. I'm guessing it takes a few races to get car part knowledge to 100%. If you're starting your car from scratch, yes, you won't get it to 100% in the first race. You can get it to 100%, I think, by the end of race 2. But obviously, anytime you put an upgraded car part on the car, that will reduce the car part knowledge down again. The overall knowledge will drop because you've got a brand new part in there that the drivers haven't used before, so they have to learn that part. Why do I have a tyre issue? Tyres can't go that long. Okay, fair enough. You'll find as well that your car part knowledge goes up faster if both drivers are on track at the same time. If you've only got one driver out circulating, then the knowledge gain does decrease a little bit. I mean, it's a very slow increase anyway, so you don't tend to really notice it unless you're looking for it. But yeah, having both drivers running at the same time does increase the gaining of car part knowledge a little bit faster than just one driver. But car part knowledge is only worth 3 of the 15 points for the bonus, so as long as you can get your car part knowledge above 85% or above, that will count as 3 points. 3 out of 3 points for that particular bonus. It's like track knowledge as well. I mean, 100% is nice, but technically you only need to get track knowledge up to 85% or above to get the full 3 points for that part of the bonus. Car setup is a lot trickier. You need to get it into optimal range to get the full 9 points for that, which means maybe 97%, more likely 98, 99 or 100, but sometimes you can trigger an optimal with 97%. It just depends on the individual setup.
Contact and several cars involved. We can take a look now.
Oh, Perez crashing out there into someone. Was it Yuki or was it Gasly? I'm not sure who he hit. It was Gasly. Looking at Gasly's last lap time.
And that's the lockup. I think we've had a car run wide.
It can be a little tricky trying to find optimal at first when you've not done the setups before. Getting to grips with how much the sliders need to move based on the feedback you get just comes with practice. You kind of start to get a feel for it to the point where you know in most situations exactly which way you need to move, or by how much you need to move to get that optimal for the individual part that you're dealing with. It also is much easier once you get a solid understanding of how the sliders interact with each other. Some of the sliders affect multiple components at different rates. So moving the camber will affect the camber, the toe, the straights and the front wing, but will have the biggest effect on the camber. It'll have a smaller effect on the slightly smaller effect on the toe. It'll have a smaller still effect on the front wing, on the oversteer value, and it'll have a very minuscule but definite effect on the straights, which is controlled by the rear wing. So learning how much you can get away with moving certain sliders without compromising other parts of your setup, it just comes with practice. So we're up to 99% on mixed kart, which is excellent stuff. We are back in the wet zone, but that's fine. We'll just stay on the inters. We'll tough it out for a few laps. What I would definitely recommend for you as well when you're getting when you're first racing is write down at the end of practice 3 the setup values that you've got. So you know, I've got like a little notebook with the values for each component for and what my setup rating was. Most of them are at 100%. Some of them are within a couple of percent. So the baseline setups I was using here, I used 2 setups that had previously given me a 100% value. You don't always, it does, the setup isn't exactly the same every time. Every time you load up that race. So next time it could be different, but it will give you a good starting point. And the more, the more practice you have with the setup system, the easier it is to adjust and correct any errors to get it back to 100%. But I would definitely suggest writing down your final setups at the end of FP3 and what your overall percentage was, just so that you've got a baseline to start from next time you race on that circuit, so you're not going in blind again. And then over time you'll kind of figure out exactly where, not exactly where, but you'll figure out a rough starting point without even needing to have a cheat sheet, so to speak. There are videos out there that say just follow this method and you'll instantly get 100% setups, or you'll get it within like 5 minutes. I personally would advise not to look at those videos. I have stayed away from them. I don't want to know any hidden secret method of getting instant 100% setups every time, because for me half the fun is figuring out how to get the car set up exactly right. Even though we're not technically setting up the car, we're just getting the driver, comfortable with the car. For me, that's half the fun. And yeah, I mean, if you wanted to speed run your way through practice, then you could just put the right values in, maybe make a little tweak between sessions, and boom, 100% every time. But I enjoy the challenge of trying to get 100% each time.
Who's running wide there?
Okay, these tyres are no longer the right tyres to run, but seeing as we're pretty much out of fuel now, we're heading to the garage anyway. That's the end of the session for us. Pretty good. 99% just needs to be a tweak to the toe for mixed car. I don't know which way I need to go on that, so I'll look and see which looks the best in terms of movement. Depending on what screen size you're looking on, you might see that there's a little bit of movement on the cornering value. So as I move the toe to the left, the cornering goes ever so slightly to the right, and if I go to the right, it goes ever so slightly to the left on cornering. It's little changes like that that you need to pay attention to. So the toe doesn't just affect braking stability, the toe also affects cornering. Tyre camber, as you can see, affects pretty much everything except for the straights. So it affects your traction, it affects your cornering, it affects your braking, and affects your oversteer, but by different amounts each time you make the click. So I'll move it down a couple more so you can see the size change. So the biggest change is to your braking stability, then it's your cornering, then it's your traction and your oversteer values. You know, you can see the size difference in those little tweaks there. Your front wing angle, again, will also control everything on the car. So moving your front wing will affect every single value that you have. You can generally correct something on a front wing angle change if you make just a small front wing change. So for example, if I wanted to just bring the front wing angle down a little bit, but then I wanted to correct that on my cornering and my traction and my braking stability, I could use my tyre camber to move those back, and then if I needed to, I could make a little tweak there with the toe as well. Your rear wing also affects everything, but primarily it affects the straights and your wing angles. Everything else moves at a slightly smaller incremental movement. And it's just getting used to the changes that they will make. Like your roll bar, again, it moves everything except your straights. It's figuring out exactly what you can tweak and in what direction you want to tweak it, and then how you can counteract some of those changes with other sliders. Once you kind of get your head around that concept, it's relatively straightforward when it comes to setting up the car. It just takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so we got Mick up to 55% knowledge. That's pretty good. We got his car either to 98/97 with that little tweak, or 100, and whichever way it's gone, we can just correct it the other way if we need to. Oscar's car is fine. Technically, Oscar doesn't need to run again because he's at 94%. So as long as because he's at 100% on car part knowledge and 100% on setup knowledge, that value only needs to be 85% for me to get the full 15 out of 15 bonus. But when it comes to getting experience at the end of the race, you'll notice that you also get experience based on your running in practice. And if you want to get the full points for the practice session, then the driver needs to run for at least half of take part in at least half of the session. So we want to make sure that Oscar runs for about 30 minutes in this next session. We just hide that user permanently. Thank you, Mr. Otto. I didn't realise the sex box had turned up. And I shall report them as well. There we go. So yeah, you want to make sure that you run your drivers for about half the session in every session, just over half the session in every session, to make sure they get the full XP gain at the end of that, at the end of the weekend for each practice session. Now, obviously, if you're swapping out one of your drivers for a reserve driver, you can't get XP for the normal drivers. So Mick will get no XP for FP1 because he didn't take part in that session at all. Logan took part, so he'll get his XP gain, and then Mick will get XP for sessions 2 and 3. Oscar will get XP for sessions 1 and 2, and then as long as we run him for over 30 minutes, he'll get the full 30 points of experience for FP3 as well, even though he only needs 6% track knowledge and technically doesn't need to go out at all because he's already got his full bonus. So if you are
Here we are, back for another day of
mindful of wear on your components, say it's getting towards the end of the season, you don't really want to take another penalty, you don't want to put too much wear and tear in your engines, don't run your drivers for all of the session, every session, because you'll get to the final session and then, you know, if you want to make sure you run him for that full 30 minutes to get the bonus, you're putting unnecessary wear and tear on his engine. Now we've got spare parts, you know, coming out of our ears on these two cars, so it's not an issue. But you know, a general rule of thumb, I tend to call my drivers in so that they still need about 20 or 30% left in the final session. Speaking of, we need to choose some tyres. We're going to go with the hards. Actually, no, I'm going to go with the mediums. I want to keep a set of hards in reserve for for the race on this circuit, because the best strategy here is a medium, hard, medium. So I want to have a spare set of hards just in case a safety car messes up the tyre strategy. We're going to go with a 26 lap run. That should be enough to get him over half an hour of track time. And then for Mick, Mick needs quite a bit of running still to get his track knowledge up, so I'm going to put Mick in with another 40 laps of fuel and hope that it stays dry for the whole session.
Radio check, radio check.
Yes, it's going to stay dry today in FP3, so that does mean we are going to have another wet quali, which means we're going to have potentially some drama up and down the grid when it gets to the quali session. So there you can see the blue line, the run line on Oscar's graph puts him just over half an hour running, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we can just leave him to it, and we don't have to check in with him again because we've already got his car sorted. That might not be a long enough run for Mick to get his knowledge up.
Copy.
So I'm going to save some fuel for a moment. And there you can see the prediction on his track acclimatization will be just under the green line. The green line is where our car part knowledge is, which is at 100%. So he's going to need to run an extra couple of laps on top of the 40 lap run he's doing. So we'll save a little bit of fuel and then keep him out for an extra few laps at the end. But of course, if we if he has a spin, if Mick has a spin, that will, or you know, runs wide, or you know, crashes with someone, that will slow down his accumulation of track knowledge as well. So that's something else we need to take into consideration. Trucker, if you leave your tyres on blue, that's actually on light there, and run your fuel at purple. That's the wrong way around.
Run wide.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with running fuel on purple all the way through, but you always want to run on purple on your engine, because on your tyres, because that's what saves the most wear on your engine components, as you can see there. If you're running on that setting there, you're getting a small decrease in tyre wear and engine temperature, and a small decrease in engine wear. If you run on conserve, you're getting the biggest saving on engine wear. So always run your engine on conserve, your tyre pace on conserve in practice. Leaderboard times mean absolutely nothing in practice, so you just want to get your car dialed in, putting as few miles on the car as possible. It's why I tell my drivers to avoid curbs as well, because you can see by telling them to do that, they also reduce wear on powertrain and tyres at the same time as well. Only by a little bit, but again, the whole point of practice is just to get your car set up and learn the track, and if you've got a new part on the car, learn the new part. You know, the times that you set are completely irrelevant, because you know, it doesn't mean anything. You know, I mean, it's a good idea if you want to try and get a benchmark of the pace of your car, if you put a new part on, to run a few laps with regular pace, just to see what kind of pace you can get with the new part. But at the end of the day, practice is just practice. You know, so you want to reduce the amount of strain you put on your engine components, so that they last longer. It means you're going to need less replacement parts across the season. Potentially, you can get away with no replacement parts across the entire season if you really do look after them enough. You know, not just in practice, but also through racing itself as well. Yeah, the curbs option is here in your car condition section, so you just press X on that, it pulls it up, and then you've got your options here. Again, driving in clean air is another way you can also reduce wear, but I don't tend to bother with that one too much. But if you really do want to look after the engine, you know, as much as physically possible, then that is what you could do. We've got 98% on setup confidence and a revised graph for Mick, so I'm actually going to stop saving fuel. Give him a little bit more speed. But we know that because he's gone down 1% on his setup confidence, we need to move the toe in the opposite direction to the way we moved it initially to get it up to 100. So that's an easy little tweak. I don't even need to send the car back out for that. I just need to make that correction and then send him into qualifying. You know, there's no point doing another run to get him up to 100% confidence, because he will get 100% confidence after that first run of quality. I always leave ERS on normal.
Copy.
And just as we were saying that Schumacher is going to be fine and not need to do extra laps, he locks up. And now what we should see, if I speed time up, is we should see his graph change. So if I speed time up, I need to click off that page to get it to refresh. The graphs never work properly when you're like this. It looks as though he's got away with it because he didn't actually hit anything. A lockup seems to be okay. But if he'd spun, or if he'd crashed into something, that would have flattened his curve right down, which would have meant he'd have to stay out longer to get his track knowledge up.
Virtual safety car. Yellow head.
Okay, he's at 94%. That is enough. He doesn't need to go all the way up to 100. I'm just going to pull, now that we've got a virtual, I'm just going to pull him in. It gives me time to go ahead and just make that little adjustment. Oops. So, go to setup, we can correct the toe change. So that there is the 99% setup, and we're going to go to the left this time, and that will be 100%. Okay, so it was Ricardo who crashed. He's out of the session. Looks like Hamilton's going to be pretty fast at this weekend, based on the practice times. That kind of tracks with reality. This is a strong circuit for Mercedes because it's Mercedes are very strong at low speed cornering. So this track kind of suits their car more than other tracks. So they're always pretty competitive here. Okay, so the set of confidence, it's showing 0 at the moment, but we've got a performance bonus of 15 out of 15, which is based on his 99% feedback. And that is, as I say, doesn't need to be 100. 85 would have been enough to get us up to 15 out of 15. So we're going to head into quali. Let's swap out the parts. We want our best engine. That ERS module, I'm going to swap it over. Even though the other one's fine, I'm going to swap it over anyway. And same with the gearbox. Just in case we have a shunt, but we can carry on, you know, if the unit does take damage in the race, it could drop it to a point where it stops working quite so efficiently. Run plan, I'm going to remove the flying lap. Or the cooldown lap. Oscar's car, we've got that brand new engine that we're going to run for the last 2 races. Make him as fast as we possibly can. Just to help us hold off Mercedes in these last 2 races. There we go. So again, let's take out the cooldown lap and off we go to start qualifying.
Ready to check.
Okay, the chance of rain is going to increase as the session goes on. It shouldn't rain, but you know, depending on how good your weather center is, and ours isn't the greatest, it is possible. We're only at level 2. It is possible that we may possibly see a little bit of rain in that cloudy section at the end of the session there. So I'm actually going to send my guys out early, get their runs out of the way, and just hope I don't get held up with traffic. So the track knowledge only affects bonus points. Yes, it does. Yeah. It kind of does. The bonus points do affect your race performance. You have your basic level of stat for the driver, and then the 5 stats that are boosted with that 15 out of 15 bonus are all pace affecting stats. So it's your cornering, your accuracy, your braking, your control, and what's the other one I'm missing? Braking, cornering, accuracy, control, maybe adaptability. I think it might be, I can't remember what the fifth one is, but each of those stats gets boosted, by 3 points if you get the full 15 out of 15. So your track knowledge contributes up to 3 points of that 15-point bonus. Your car part knowledge contributes up to 3 points of that bonus, and then the remaining 9 points is contributed by your car setup knowledge. So that is the really important one, is getting your car set up as good as possible, and to get the full bonus on that, you really need your car setup to be minimum 97%. Alright, this is going to be our only run in Q1. This need to refuel thing that keeps popping up, this is one of the things they're patching out with the next update, by the way. Oh yeah, 100% guarantee you'll be losing points on your bonus because of setup. You know, like I say, setup is the most important component of your 15-point bonus, because it contributes 9 points. It accounts for, a vast majority of it. So it's 60% of your entire bonus is just on the car setup. So you want to really, really, hammer it home, getting that as close to 100 as you possibly can. And then the margin on that is really tricky as well. So like I said, to get the full 9-point bonus, you need to get the car to a minimum of 97, and sometimes even 97 isn't quite enough. If you've got a 97 but the car setup is great, then it's not enough. If it's a 97 but the car setup is optimal, that might be enough. If it's a 98 or above, that's going to be enough. Because your track knowledge is only worth 3 points and your car part knowledge is only worth 3 points, those can be a little bit less. Like I say, you can get away with around about 85% or higher on those. But only if your car part if your car setup is good enough. Alright, we're a little off the pace here. I thought we'd be a little bit quicker than this. Not gonna lie. We should have enough pace to get through. Bottas is going to improve. Ocon is probably going to improve, but we've got enough to get Mick through without sending him out again. But I had hoped we'd be a little further up the grid, especially with Oscar with his brand new engine. Oh, that's why. Look, penalties. Penalties galore. Lots of penalties. So, one or two of these is going to be for crashing, I think. Someone took out, I didn't see who it was, but someone took out Ricardo, so they will get a 3-place penalty for that. But there's every chance that some of these penalties here could be engine penalties, given how little pace we've got with Oscar compared to those guys in front. And Oscar's running a brand new engine, so it suggests to me that at least some of those penalties above are also running brand new engines as well. Alright, wow, we're into full wet weather already. That's pretty quick. Let's reduce the extra fuel down, make the car as light as we can. And there you can see we've got 100% car part setup knowledge there with Mick. That little tweak that we made that we didn't need to send him out for 20 minutes to get him running around just for that one little bit of feedback, you know, because we knew that little tweak that we made was going to get him to 100%. We didn't send him out, and there you go. There's the proof that would have got him to 100. Right, what is the weather like at the moment? It's getting lighter. I'm going to quickly switch the tyres onto a brand new set of Inters. Send them out now before the next bit of rain comes to get the track wetter again.
So there's rain.
Right. I don't know if the AI is going to do the same thing that we've done here and switch tyres. They may go out on full wets. None of them are moving yet. Maybe they're waiting to see what happens, but the longer it goes on like this, the more likely it is that they'll go out on Inters. Yeah, there we go. Russell's coming out on Inters. And the track is now starting to maybe get a little bit drier again. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of fluctuating. If it starts going back up again into full wet territory, then we're setting our times at the best possible time. And this will comfortably get both cars through. If it dries up a little bit more, these times might not be enough, and we might have to go out again. When the weather is unpredictable like this, and it's going to go up and down and up and down, judging exactly when to send the cars out and on which tyres is absolutely crucial. You can go out on the right tyres, but just at the wrong time, and that can be the difference of several seconds in weather like this. You can see it is getting a fair bit drier than when we were running. Oh, and there we go, it's back up again, and now it's over 4. I'm gonna set the car up for into running again, because if it stays wet like this, we're not going to improve. But if it dries up a bit, which it's probably going to do, then it might dry up enough that we can actually go faster on these Inters. And there you go, you can see it's drying up again. So I'm going to send these guys out, but I'm going to send them out at the back of the pack, so the track is at its absolute driest as we're crossing the line. So I'm just going to wait for the rest of the field to start blinking. There they go. They are going out on brand new Inters. I suppose I probably should have put brand news on, but mine aren't that much worn. Science is into the pits. So 1 minute 16 laps, so I need to send my guys out right now. Might have left that a little bit too long. Hopefully I haven't. It's going to be very close across the line. I think we'll be okay. We can see the track is now at the driest it's been all session. And it's going to be drier for us than it is for the cars in front of us. So this will help get both of our drivers through. And there we go, 7th and 9th. Big improvements for both of our drivers there. Okay, we've got a dry race. So I could have gone with new inters, but we will do for this session. We'll go out with a new set of inters. Once again, we're going to check the forecast before we actually send the drivers out. We want to see what the prediction's going to be like as to whether it's going to get wetter or drier. It's going to get very wet, so I'm not even going to go out on inters. I'm going to go out on full wets. Anyone who goes out now on inters is going to immediately struggle. Oh, it's coming down again. Oh, no. It's coming down again. No, it's going back up. I thought I'd made a mistake for a second then. It is going to get a lot wetter. Well, not a lot wetter, but it's definitely going to get wetter as the session progresses for a bit, and then it will start maybe drying up again towards the end. But again, at the point where we want the track to have as little water on it as possible, being one of the first drivers out in these conditions means we are hopefully getting our cars out while the track's at its fastest. And some of these guys have gone out. Oh no, they haven't gone on inters yet. They just haven't left the garage. Okay, so we crossed the line and the track's at a 4.2-ish. 4.2, 4.3 in terms of water on the track. Let's see how it progresses. It's getting a bit wetter. It's going to make it harder for the cars that have yet to set a time. That's a big pace difference to Verstappen there. This is where the adaptability rating comes into play in conditions like this. The higher that stat is, the better they are in the wet. Both of our drivers have, you know, average to poor stats when it comes to wet weather driving. Okay, so it does look like it is going to get a little bit drier towards the end. I am going to prep for an intermediate run at the end of the session. Just going to hope that that track does start to dry up a little bit.
There's been a lock-up.
It's touch and go. Every time it looks like it's about to start drying up, it gets wetter again. damn it, it's too late for us to change the tyres. No point going out. Given the fluctuating water levels, I don't think we would have improved either. Maybe by thousandths of a second. But 8th and 9th, that's pretty good. Got both of our cars through into Q3. We've got 4 cars in front of us with penalties. So the potential to make up 4 places. Maybe only 3 places. Maybe only 2 places. It depends on if those are 3-place grid penalties or if they are more than that for components.
Drivers are strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
HAAS proved quite resourceful during qualifying. That puts them in a very good position to make the most of this race start. It was a pleasure to watch Red Bull's excellent performance during qualifying. Their drivers will now be looking ahead to the race itself and hoping to capitalize. And the race will be taking place under blue skies. That means the teams should be able to apply their strategies without any added complications.
And when it comes down to it, there's simply no telling what will happen here in the ups and downs of Sao Paulo.
So here we go then, let's get our strategy set. This is going to be a dry race. It's going to be a 2-stop race. And for Mick, it's going to be a medium, hard, medium. For Oscar, I might change one of those tyres to another set of hards. He's a bit more heavy-handed with his tyres. No, I'll go with the original plan. I'll do a medium, hard, medium for Oscar as well, and we'll save the hards, the second set of hards, in case there's a safety car that comes out around sort of lap 35, lap 40. Then we can change the second stint to a set of hards and run to the end that way. If we get an early safety car around lap 10, lap 15, we can come in for a set of hards at that point and then switch to another set of hards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan for both of those contingencies. So let's delete this one off here and let's edit this strategy. So this is going to be based on an early safety car strategy, so around lap 15. And then we'd be looking to run hards to the end like that. And then we want to have a strategy based on a later safety car. So a safety car around lap 40, 45. So I'm going to do a lap 45 safety car. And there we've got a couple of quick tabs that we can switch to based on what's happening in the race. Same with Mick. We'll do exactly the same. We'll delete off those two strategies. So we've got our main strategy, and then we'll prep a second strategy based around an early safety car. And then a third strategy based around a late safety car. Around lap 45. Nope, I didn't actually save that one. There we go. So some very quick and easy, quickly tab to whichever one applies. Obviously, if the safety car doesn't drop nice and neatly into one of those situations, or we get a very late safety car with, say, 10 laps to go, then we can look at maybe switching for a set of softs at the end. We'll see what kind of position we're in, but we've covered off a couple of the bases quite nicely there. I'm going to get my drivers to just hold kind of pace at the start. I don't want to push too hard. I don't want to burn out my ERS too quickly. We are starting 4th and 5th, so this could be a nice little hold point.
It's sunny and bright as the drivers line up on the grid. Let's take a look at HAAS. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalize on it? There's the other HAAS. Not as close to the front as they might have wished for, but we know the race order can change a lot during those first few corners. And we're just moments away now. And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
All right, we're underway at one of my favourite tracks on my calendar. Love this circuit. Let's see if we can get a good result. And straight away we have jumped ahead of Russell, so we're ahead of both of the Mercedes here. Excellent start. Russell had a really bad start. He's already dropped back.
Is that a new race position for HAAS?
Gasly's Gasly's in first. I didn't even realise that Gasly was starting up front. It's crazy. So Leclerc's fought his way up to 9th. Sainz is in 18th. Perez is in 14th. Hamilton's in 16th. Oh, this is perfect. This is absolutely glorious for us in our fight against Mercedes, both in both the drivers and the constructors championships. Right, Oscar's about to drop off the back of Gasly, so now I'm going to increase battery usage for a lap for both drivers, try and close back in on the front two, and also see if we can't stretch away a little bit from Russell. Schumacher might need a little bit of extra help. Let's give him a bit of fuel push as well. Yeah, for whatever reason, we got a really strong start. Russell kind of went backwards a bit, but he seems to be back up to speed very quickly. This is a bit frustrating. I was hoping we could leave him for dead, but that's not going to happen. Alright, so seeing as we can't break away, we'll save the battery, because you can burn up so much battery trying to do an overtake on the final turn leading up to the start-finish straight. Yeah, you can burn so much battery there. Especially if you're using overtake on a safety car restart, you can lose so much battery in just one straight. It's ridiculous. So Verstappen's off into the distance. We're not catching Verstappen, but we didn't have his pace anyway, so that's fine. All I need to do is try and finish ahead of both of the Mercedes. With Hamilton way down in 13th, that helps. And with both my cars towards Russell, that'll help control Russell, because if he gets past Schumacher, he's then going to be sandwiched between Schumacher and Piastri. So while Piastri is holding him up, Schumacher's always going to be looking at the chance of trying to get back in front of him again. Speaking of, let's drop Schumacher's fuel usage down as well.
Copy.
Oscar having a look at the inside of Gasly, couldn't quite make the move stick. We're focusing on Mick because we want to keep an eye on Russell. DRS is one of the things that the devs are going to be looking at, you know, post next patch. A lot of people have been complaining that the DRS itself is too powerful. The battery can be useful in other circumstances. It's not. It depends on a few factors. You know, the usual. You know, how good your driver is, how good your car is, you know, the circuit you're on. But there are certain parts of the track, on each track, that you kind of figure are the best places to try and mount an overtake attack. And once you kind of suss out where those are, you know, you can deploy your battery a lot more effectively.
HAAS with an overtake.
Okay, so Oscar has now moved himself up to second. That's good stuff. Just going to make sure Schumacher can keep pace. It says it's 9/10, it's not. The delta's not right. There we go, it's 7/10. Oh, wow, Leclerc is up to 6th already. He is absolutely flying. Sorry, if he's made up that many positions that quickly, he could be a definite threat for Verstappen here. Especially if he's running a brand new engine, which I suspect he is. He's going to have massive power advantage over Verstappen. Oh, and Leclerc sneaks his way past Russell. There he is, all over the back of Mick. Russell side by side with him. And Schumacher dropping 2 places there in one corner, just completely defenceless against Leclerc, who pushed him offline a little bit, allowing Russell to sneak through as well. Yeah, Charles Leclerc is absolutely flying. Oh, one of the AlphaTauris is locked up. And look at that, Leclerc straight up the inside of Gasly there. I think Leclerc's going to win this race. I thought Verstappen would scamper off into the distance, which he kind of has done. But the way Leclerc has cut through the field, and now he's past Oscar. Comfortably past Oscar. Look how far ahead he is already.
Oh, and Ferrari just gained a place.
He's almost an entire second ahead just coming out of the corner. It's crazy. Yeah, I think Verstappen is going to get caught by Leclerc pretty quickly. We'll be able to hang with him for this next DRS zone, and then I think we'll get dropped over the lap quite quickly. And there's Hamilton in the back of the shot there. Oh, Oscar's locked up. That's going to drop him way down the order. Oscar dropping down behind Hamilton. That's not good.
Oh, big lock up there.
Damn it. Need to work on Oscar's braking a little bit. Need to work on the car. Brake cooling. Let's keep a look at Mick. He is staying in touch with Russell. That's good. But we've got a big queue forming behind us now as the faster cars are starting to work their way back through the field. Schumacher now under pressure from Alonso. I'm a little concerned that this battling with Alonso might cause me to get dropped from the cars in front. Do need to keep an eye on that. I would love to get a bit more battery in the car, but I just can't risk it at the moment. Meanwhile, Oscar, despite having a brand new engine and some pace, does not seem to be able to be catching the queue at the moment. Because we're lapping at Russell's pace. We should. And with DRS swapping as well, you know. It's not great. Oh, Mick has dropped off the back of Gasly. Damn it. Now he's going to get overtaken by Alonso. Alright, I'll let Alonso go through. I'll get the DRS on Alonso, put a bit more battery back into the car.
That's a good overtake from Alpine.
Going backwards. Getting swarmed.
More charge off this.
I mean, I knew we wouldn't be able to hold on to 4th and 5th for too long because we were only elevated up there because of penalties. But I didn't think we'd be under this much pressure this quickly. Oscar not closing at all. Maybe we can do some leapfrogging with Bottas. What would I be happy or content with in this race? We're going to lose out points to Mercedes in this race. It's just as long as we don't lose out too many points, I'll be happy. As long as we're still ahead of Mercedes going into the next race, you know, by at least 5 or 6 points, I'll be happy with that. That will at least give us a chance of hanging on to 3rd. I'd like, obviously, to not lose any points to Mercedes, or only to lose just 1 or 2 points to Mercedes. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Russell is probably going to get 3rd place as things stand at the moment. Hamilton might, I mean, he's on that train that Russell's leading. There's every chance Hamilton could push his way through, you know, with pit stops and find himself, you know, up on the podium. He has had more pace than Russell this weekend. So in a situation where we have Mercedes third and fourth, that would be pretty disastrous for us,
Alpine just advanced.
because that would give a massive haul of points that we would struggle to get anywhere close to matching, and that would probably seal the constructors in their favour. As long as Mick doesn't do anything stupid and can hang within striking distance or so of Russell for this first stint, I'll be okay with that. And then hopefully, you know, a combination of pit stops and maybe a safety car fortuitously timed might swing things back in our favour. But yeah, this is going to be a tough race in terms of staying ahead of the Mercedes, and that is our ultimate goal this weekend, is to try and beat them. As things currently stand, Mercedes are going to gain 17 points. Oh, Oscar's locked up again.
And that's the lockup.
Oh god, that's dropped him another 5 seconds down the road. Terrible race for Oscar. He's eating his tyres as well. I might have to put him onto a medium hard. We'll see if we can stretch these tyres enough. But yeah, based on how things currently stand, Mercedes are going to gain 17 points. We're going to gain 6 because of Schumacher. So the gap will be 13 points. Schumacher's just been overtaken, so that's going to change.
Alfa Romeo just moved up a place.
And there you can see we're only going to get 4 points now, thanks to Schumacher losing a position. And Hamilton's right behind Schumacher already, as he's side by side with Perez. We've had a crash.
Seems to have been a lockup.
That's a safety car. Okay, so early safety car contingencies. Here we go. This is what we planned for. I'm going to ignore, pause for a second so I can switch the strategies. We planned for this. It's come at the perfect time. Look, that's amazing. Pit. I don't normally bother putting in safety car strategies like this, but I thought, you know, considering I'm doing a kind of a tutorial episode this time out with all the information and stuff about practice and setups and everything, I figured why not go ahead and do that for this as well. And it's just worked out absolutely perfectly for us.
It's a collision. Let's
Right,
have a look.
who got
We're
hit?
just watching the Red Bull.
Oh, it's Perez right in front of us. I heard the crash while we were off camera.
You can clearly see the contact there, and that caused a lot
I'm
of
amazed Zhou stayed on the track there.
damage. And the team had such high hopes today. What a shame.
Okay, so yeah, both our drivers are going to come in for that early pit stop, get onto a set of hards now, and then because we saved the hards in practice, we can then do hard to the end. We won't be as quick in terms of pure pace as some of the others, because we'll be dropping onto that different compound, and we're going to be out of sequence with quite a few of these drivers.
Copy.
This is going to put us towards the back of the queue. But we are saving massively on pit time here. Perez is out and has a penalty for the next race as well. So he will have a 3-place penalty going into Abu Dhabi for causing that collision. Let's put him onto conserve. Let's do the same with Oscar. Onto conserve. We're not dead last. Latifi's still behind us. But yeah, 15th and 18th, not great. But we should get both drivers able to get back in the queue before the safety car comes in. I think we've got one more lap. I hope we've got one more lap. Which should give both drivers enough time to, you know, get onto the back of the train. So let's take a look at the tyre situation. We weren't the only ones to jump in. Obviously Ricciardo did as well, as did Ocon and Norris and Latifi. Everyone else is going to have to make a minimum of 1 stop, possibly 2 stops. Some of them might go for a 1 stop now. But I think most will go for a 2 stop, if not all of them. And they're going to have to make those stops under normal racing conditions. So whereas we lost maybe about 15 seconds or so under the safety car, they're going to lose about 25 seconds under normal racing conditions. So we saved 10 seconds of track time effectively. The other big advantage we've got by pitting under a safety car is that under normal racing conditions without a safety car, obviously the field separates out as the race progresses, and the further you go before you make your stop, the bigger the number of gaps, and the bigger those gaps are between the cars behind you, making it easier for you to drop into clear air or not into as much traffic, so you don't lose as many positions. The shorter the run you make before you make your pit stop, the more likely you are to drop into some traffic. Anyone who's going to pit in the next 5 to 10 laps is going to get into a lot of traffic.
Push hard now.
They might potentially even drop to the very back of the queue. Alright, that's Mick, just 2 cars in front of us. Or 3 cars in front, 2 between us. How many of the teams followed suit by pitting? Well, you can see on the tyre percentage there, the other drivers who pitted were Ricciardo, Ocon, Norris and Latifi. Everyone else has stayed out. Right, Oscar does need to get past these guys as quickly as possible. He has got more pace, as does Schumacher. So I'm going to put both of these guys into overtake.
Overtake instead.
Copy.
I can't believe we're being attacked by Latifi here. Right, there we go. There's a run at Albon. Up the inside.
Very good.
Good stuff.
Is that a new race position for
And
HAAS?
Stroll is immediately into the pits. And that's going to drop him so far behind the rest of the field. go, that's Norris overtaken. Not overtaken. And overtaken.
HAAS with an overtake.
There we go. Move's done finally. Look how much time Stroll has lost. He's lost about 20 seconds. Or just over 20 seconds making that pit stop. I'm not sure exactly how far off the leaders he was when he pitted. So he's lost a minimum, I would say, of 20 seconds. And that's the end of the battery. So we shall go into recharge mode for both drivers as we complete our moves.
No overtake.
Copy.
Keep this approach. Good job so far.
HAAS with an overtake there. That's a good overtake from Alpine.
And of course, with Stroll being so far off the back of the rest of the field, there's no one he can use to work in tandem with DRS training. So he's just going to drop further and further behind. Until everyone in front's tyres go off enough for him to catch up. Or they make their own pit stops. Right, Mick is through, but he's a long way off the next place.
P12.
I'm going to put him back into neutral so he can use that battery coming out of the corners. And then try and eke up onto the back of Ricciardo, whose tyres are going to be in much worse condition, I think. Oh no, Ricciardo is fine. It's these guys here. Zhou, I think, is the bottleneck, along with the fight going on between Hamilton and Yuki. Oh, Yuki Tsunoda's the bottleneck, because Yuki's not a fast driver. So Yuki's what's slowing everyone behind down, and you can see the tyres are just burning up. These guys are all going to be pitting in the next few laps. They're all going to be dropping to the back of the grid. So right now, as silly as it sounds, Ricciardo is net P1. Schumacher's net P2. Vettel needs to pit, which he's probably going to do any moment. There he goes into the pits. So yeah, let's see where Verstappen comes out. He's behind both of our drivers by quite a distance. And he's got a lot of pace and fresh tyres, but not that much fresher than ours. He's got mediums again, so he's going to go medium hard. But there we go. There's Verstappen out. And that cost him, 20 seconds. So it's about 20 seconds for a pit stop here in terms of time lost. We probably saved about 8-9 seconds by pitting under a safety car. Our drivers, Mick is in range. We'll start getting Mick's battery recharged a bit more. Oscar is just off the back. I need to stop him charging. More drivers in the pits, all the rest of the front runners, so Alonso, Tsunoda, Bottas, Sainz, Albon's pitted as well. All those guys are peeling off and they're going to come out behind us. Hamilton's way back as well now. And then Russell and Leclerc are going to pit. Mick is now net P1.
Good job so far.
Thanks to us capitalising on that safety car when we did. That is effectively your race leader right there.
Is that a new race position for HAAS?
So let's focus on the race now.
McLaren gain a position.
There we go, a little bit of lubrication for the vocal cords. And there's Leclerc and Russell into the pits as well. There is Leclerc coming out. Where are they going to drop out? Verstappen's now back up to 9th as a result of those pit stops, now 7th. He is steaming through the field.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
I did open the can up. Took a swig and that was the lubrication for the vocal cords. Yeah, Oscar is going to need to push a little bit. Mick is almost fully charged on his battery now. That's good. Oh, it's an energy drink. Mick's battery is fully charged.
Road race.
Okay.
Now Oscar can hopefully start to close that gap down to Ocon. Second place. We're just out of range, but I am going to push coming out the corner.
Alpine just advanced.
I don't want to lose position to Norris again. There we go. Gap is where we want it now. Right, I want to be very careful how I do this, but I want to try and get Oscar in front of Mick. It's choosing the right place to tell him to move over. That's not it. Oh, he's done it anyway. At least Oscar got the DRS. That was important. Mick will be able to retake that position from Norris. But with Oscar's extra pace, we wanted him ahead. So if there's a chance to get ahead of the front two, he's the one who's going to take it. Okay, so Verstappen is now up to 6th and is only 4 seconds behind. There's a gap of another 5.5 seconds back to Russell, who's heading up a queue of Gasly and Leclerc. Hamilton's up to 11th. But the Mercedes have definitely lost out thanks to that safety car. And we have absolutely capitalised. And depending on how tyre wear goes, we may possibly even be able to switch Mick back onto another set of mediums if the tyre wear improves. So we'll keep an eye on that. There's an outside possibility of that for Mick. It's not likely, but there's a chance. Not for Oscar. Oscar's tyre wear is too severe for him to switch back onto another set of mediums. He's going to have to stay on hards now. Right, let's see if we can make a way past Ricciardo. Okay, we made our way past Ocon instead. I'll settle for that. Back into neutral.
HAAS with an overtake.
And let's see if we can do the same for Mick. Getting past Norris.
Copy.
Oh, and there is Verstappen. He's only 1.5 seconds behind now. He's gained 2.5 seconds in a lap. Nearly 3 seconds. That's crazy. I know he's on much faster tyres and he's got a much faster car, but even so, that's depressing. To see that much time loss. Okay, Oscar up into P1.
HAAS with an overtake there.
Want to get past Norris. Come on up the inside. There we go. Complete the move, please.
Is that a new race position for HAAS?
Finally. Whew. And now Verstappen is all over the back of Norris.
Charge on, charge on. Copy.
And just like that, he's going to get Norris. Oh no, Norris has held on. I honestly expected that to be a straightforward maneuver there.
Up.
Latifi having another wobble. You know, there's some cracking racing going on here.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Oh, wow. Verstappen just took the pair of us in one corner.
I think someone's run wide. Let's take a closer look. Now, just watch the Mercedes here. They've gone wide.
Okay,
They won't be
Russell
happy about that.
had a little wobble. I was hoping it would be a bit more of a time loss for him than that, but yeah, never mind. Right. Saved about all I can on the battery. And I lost the DRS.
Switch, charge on.
Oh no. Oh, Verstappen to the lockup. He's crashed. Verstappen's crashed.
Was that a crash? Multiple cars, I think. Let's see what happened there. Now,
I think he
just
took
take
out.
a look at the McLaren.
I think he took out Ocon there. Oh no, he took
And
out. He
that's
took
a
out the
big
McLaren.
smash. They'll have felt that.
So that's a penalty for Verstappen as well. That'll be a 5-second penalty added, you know, to his pit stop time. It does mean Schumacher is now completely out of range. I'm going to have to push him hard for a lap or so. I'm also going to push Oscar. There's a chance I can get Oscar to break away from Ocon here. Oh, he got the DRS, damn it. But he's over a second away at the moment, which means he won't get it through the next section. Oh my God, he might do. It's touch and go. He got it again. So penalties for both Red Bulls. Verstappen's staying out as well. He's not pitting yet. The makers of the game, Frontier, yeah, they have accepted that the DRS is a little bit too powerful. So they are going to start investigating into reducing its effects slightly. I don't know how much,
overtake.
probably not by a lot, but they will look to make a little bit of a change, I would imagine. Alright, we've left Piastri behind, that's good. Now Mick has got a chance to get onto the back of Ocon. Unfortunately, I'm bringing Norris with me. I was hoping I could lose Norris, but I just don't have the battery. Running out of rubber and fuel. to recharge my battery, and I can't do that till I'm in his DRS. Ocon is losing ground to Oscar now, that's good. Just need that little bit more. Just not quite there. I think it might be the better option might be to just
More charge.
let Norris overtake and then use Norris's DRS to hunt down Ocon. So Verstappen has closed back up to the point where he's only less than 2 seconds now behind Schumacher's fight. But he does have that penalty. I'm guessing he's got some damage to his front wing as well. Yeah, he's lost the left front wing end plate. So that'll affect his cornering speed slightly. But even so, you can see he's just immediately all over the back of Norris there. And he's past Norris. That was quick. Barely even registered. Yeah, we're not in, even in the position we're in, we're not in contention for the win. We just do not have the pace of the front running cars on this track. And we are forced onto hard tyres. I mean, the AI is going to be running hard tyres, but I mean, given how quickly they're just steamrolling up to the back of us, yeah, we're not going to have the pace to hold them off.
So let's focus on the race now.
But that's not my objective for this race anyway. My objective for this race is to hold off the Mercedes if I can, and that we've got a better chance of doing. Hamilton's still down in 11th. In a queue led by Russell, which is catching the back of us. So, yeah, that might not take very long.
Please.
Copy.
Keep your questions coming, Farah, if you have more questions about the game that you want to try and figure things out. More than happy to try and help you through that. Verstappen's back in range of Ocon again. My biggest hope is that he gets past Ocon quickly and does not drag Ocon up to the back of Oscar with him. Meanwhile, Mick doing a sterling job here, defending from Leclerc. Let's take a look at the tyre situation. So, Castri's tyres starting to wear out a little bit. The medium runners are going to start crossing over to the point where they are slower than the hard runners at some point in the next few laps, but they're also, by the same token, pretty close to their next pit stop. We are a little bit away. We are about to enter the pit windows, so we're pretty close to our stops as well. So the important thing now is for us to absolutely capitalise on maintaining track position, which means we're going to stop slightly ahead of schedule so that we get onto fresh rubber first. That's the only way we're not going to lose a load of positions. If we pit after the guys behind us pit, we're instantly dropping places. So, let's look at bringing both our guys in. Well, I'm going to leave Mick out one more lap, but Oscar, I think I might bring in at the end of this lap. Mick is playing roadblock right now. He's doing a very effective job at roadblocking. Verstappen is closing in on Oscar. I don't want Verstappen to get DRS. I think Verstappen's tyres might have gone off. But I'm going to pit him this lap because I've got a feeling Verstappen's going to pit this lap as well. So let's go ahead and book that pit stop now. Mick, I'm going to run one more lap.
Box, this lap, box.
Yeah, Verstappen is coming in this lap. The rest of the field isn't coming in this lap, that's good. Sainz has, but he's a bit down the order. So we have kept position over Verstappen. And Sainz has jumped Verstappen. Oh, of course, Verstappen had that penalty. Current pace target. Are you able to explain that to me? How do you mean, current pace target? Oh God, Mick. Oh, actually, no, that helps.
I don't know what just happened.
Let's take a look at the replay. Right, watch this. There's Schumacher.
I've been passed by. Oh, we've held up
Spun the car. What
both
a
of the
disaster.
Mercedes there. Not by a huge amount.
The team
There's a
are
chance we might hold up
devastated.
Oscar here as well. No, Oscar's just coming around the corner. Yeah. What are you referring to as pace target?
Pit entry.
On what screen are you referring that
Copy.
to? Because I'm not 100% sure what it is you're asking about. In the strategy when I'm editing. Are you talking about the tyre wear line? You're talking about the predicted fall off on the tyre wear. Yeah, that's a rough guide. It's never exact. It shows the prediction of where your tyres are going to be in terms of what level they're going to be at, you know, as the race progresses, as the stint progresses. It's not exact. Obviously, if you change your pace setting, then that can affect, you know, positively or negatively how much the tyres wear out. If you have a safety car, obviously, or even a VSC, that's going to slow the pace down of everybody in the field, so that's going to reduce tyre wear. If you've got a driver who's very, very good at looking after their tyres, someone like Ocon, for example, who's got a very high smoothness rating in the 90s, or George Russell, for example, another driver with a smoothness rating in the 90s, they will really look after their tyres. So, you know, they will wear at a rate, you know, that is less than expected. So they basically, whereas one driver might take the tyres to X% after 15 laps,
like there's been a crash.
it would be less wear for a driver with a higher smoothness rating. They would have, let's say that the tyres degraded down to 50% after 15 laps. A driver like Russell might be able to get to lap 18 or 19 before he hits 50% on his tyres. So it allows you more flexibility with your tyre strategies, knowing how good your driver is at looking after the tyres. That's why I'm always more cautious with Oscar's tyre strategy, because Oscar doesn't have the greatest tyre wear, so he tends to eat through his tyres pretty quickly. His starting tyre wear rate is 48. His smoothness rating is 48 at the very start of the game, which isn't great. Mick's is, I think, low 80s. So Mick will look after his tyres about as the prediction is. Oscar will eat his tyres more than the prediction is. But as you improve Oscar's smoothness rating, then the amount of additional wear on the tyres decreases to the point where he starts coming up to about where the prediction is, and then if you keep pushing his smoothness rating higher and higher, then your wear rate actually becomes less than the prediction. So the tyres last longer. I think the worst driver of all the sort of F1/reserve drivers is Jack Doohan. His smoothness rating is, I think, 41, 42. It's awful. He eats tyres for breakfast. He just shreds them. Right. Let's see if we can get Mick to catch up a little bit.
Up on the track.
But that's why you hire drivers like that as reserve drivers, so that you can spend a couple of seasons just ironing out their biggest flaws, so that when you do put them in a car, you know, they don't instantly throw it into a barrier or disintegrate the tyres, you know, by the end of the third lap kind of thing. Or if their braking's really bad, you know, you spend a season or two just buffing their braking stats so that they don't spear into a barrier. when they reach a corner. Okay, so we're running to the end, but we're lapping slower than Bottas. We don't have a DRS queue that we can get onto the back of until we catch Bottas. So Mick might not be going anywhere for a while, which
Looks
is a
like
shame.
that was a position gained for Alfa Romeo.
Oh, both the Ferraris have caught up to Oscar. Hamilton currently running in third.
Position gained for Alfa Romeo.
He is going to make another pit stop within the next few laps. Russell has made his final stop. There he is. So we need to keep Oscar ahead of us, of Russell, and then hope that we don't lose much time to Hamilton. We're currently 12 seconds behind him. We need to improve that situation if we can. I'm actually going to use a little bit of extra fuel and a little bit of battery for Oscar. Just want to try and get clear of Yuki if I can. Oh, he's run wide and he's lost all those positions. Damn it.
Oh, they've run wide.
Right, back onto the Ferraris. So now I just need to stay with the Ferraris.
Can reduce and lift off a bit.
Drivers aren't doing themselves any favours in this race. We had a decent starting strategy with a couple of good contingencies, one of which turned out to be the perfect contingency plan, and then lockups and running wide and spinning. It's just throwing all that hard work and advantage that we've gained away. Right, I need to get past Joe ASAP. Otherwise I'm going to lose touch to the Ferraris. I'm already risking losing touch, and Russell is closing in. Oh, make the move. There we go. Nope, blocked. It just eats up so much battery, this corner. There we go. A little bit more back in, but Gasly's made his pit stop. He's going to come out behind us. There's Gasly coming out the pits now, I think. Oh God, Schumacher as well.
Here's the replay. Now just focus on the HAAS.
He didn't damage the car, I don't think.
Keep
But that's
focus.
ruined his chance of getting back into a points position. Oscar still hasn't got past Joe, and now we've been overtaken by Verstappen. Oh, this race is going from bad to worse. Alright, up the inside of Verstappen. Can we get a good run? Nope. It's just got so much more acceleration out the corners.
We have P15 at the moment.
Alright, Joe's into the pits, and Tsunoda's into the pits as well, so that's two slower cars out of the way.
McLaren gain a position.
but it's put Russell right on the back of us. Hamilton's about to come out the pits. There he is, just entering the screen behind Ocon. Right, if we get a late safety car now, or a safety car anywhere around now, we can maybe throw on a set of mediums to capitalise.
So P12.
Haas with an overtake there.
You want to see the tyre wear? Yeah, there you go.
Looks like there's been a lock-up. McLaren with a great overtake.
I need to get some more battery into Oscar's car, but I can't risk charging up while I'm defending from Russell. Who has better tyres? Hamilton's going to close up quickly because he's on mediums, brand new mediums. Yeah, I think we're going to get jumped by both Mercedes here. I think it's just a matter of time.
Good job.
Is that a new race position for Haas?
Stay within a second. Please stay within a second. I think we've got the DRS. And Russell's dropped out. Excellent. So if we can stay with Verstappen, we've got a chance of pulling away from Russell here. He really lost out trying to get past the back marker. And now Gasly's got him as well. Right, Mick's back up to 13th and he's scrapping for 12th with Ricciardo. Even though I just get Mick into the top 10, it's going to work with the sponsors that we've put in, and it's an extra point, so it cancels out Hamilton's fastest lap point that he's got right now. Next year when F1 starts, we should do a new game and only race a team when the race is on, like I've been doing with HAAS. Well, I've only been doing it with HAAS simply because of just the way the calendar's been falling. Obviously, we've
Good job.
kind of broken that a little bit. Brazil's not till next
Haas
weekend,
with an overtake.
I think, and then Abu Dhabi's the week after that. But yeah, it's an option. It'll be a long time between each race, though. We can see how that goes.
McLaren gain a position.
All right, we are slowly edging away from Gasly, Russell, and Hamilton. We are, because we're hanging onto the back of Verstappen here. but that might change because I'm out of spare fuel. And besides, the next iteration of the game with next year's calendar and driver lineup, etc., isn't going to come out till halfway through the season. And there we go, we've lost the DRS already, just by turning the fuel down. Okay, as long as we can keep pace, you know, keep the pace neutral, and not drop time to Gasly, we should be okay, but I think Gasly's a little bit quicker than we are. Let's see what the lap time is at the end of the next lap. Just checking with Mick. Yeah, we've already lost, what, 0.3 of a second to Gasly. Mick is a second out of range. You've got Yuki all over the back of us as well, which doesn't help. I'm just dropping time completely to Ricardo here. Oh, he's on mediums, no wonder. Okay, well, Hamilton got past Gasly, and he's now about to get past me. This is exactly what I said would happen. Somehow we're able to hold him back for now. We desperately need another safety car now. Another safety car come in, put on better tyres, and then try and fight our way through the traffic again.
Wow.
Yeah, Mick just has no pace.
We are P14.
I'm keeping him out there just in case there is a late safety car, because we can bolt on a set of softs and try and get him into the top 10 for at least a point, but this is not looking good. Oscar is once again flying the flag for the team here. Got to try and stay with Hamilton even though he's on mediums.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
He's not as fast as Verstappen, I don't think, so that should be a little bit easier. But with Gasly swarming all over the back of me, that is going to force Piastri to take defensive lines into some of these corners, which is going to slow him down. This could be tricky. He's just got so much more grip in the corners than I do. Plus, that car is so much better at low speed cornering than we are. That whole middle section is just horrible for our car. We're one of the worst on the grid for that. Yeah, Hamilton's gone. We can't catch him. Even with battery, we can't catch him. Which means we're not going to be able to hold back Gasly, and we're going to struggle to hold back Russell. can't even hold back Russell either. So, assuming that this is the final running order, this is going to do that. The constructors, we're going to gain 6 points. Mercedes are going to gain 21, and the gap is going to be just 7 points going into Abu Dhabi. That's going to make things very uncomfortable.
Alfa Romeo just moved up a place.
Joe overtaking Schumacher. Need that late safety car. Alright, it's a big gap to Vettel. Oh, that's a back marker. One of the Williams boys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring... Someone's had a spin. It's just a yellow.
Yellow ahead, yellow ahead.
Oh, that was Yuki. Oh, that's a point gained for... Or a place gained for Mick. I'm thinking about bringing Mick in for a set of softs, pushing for fastest lap. Even though I won't get the point for it because I'll be outside the top 10, I will take it away from Hamilton and take it away from Mercedes. It's just timing when I'm going to do that. Oscar is hanging on to the back of Gasly and Russell, but not by much. Russell has overtaken Gasly, so that is a problem because Russell is faster than Gasly. So it's going to be harder to stay with the pair of them because they're going to be running at a faster pace. Alright, let's start charging up the battery.
More charge. Copy.
I'm just going to hope that Mick's going to have enough pace on those tyres to be able to take that point away from Hamilton. What is the fastest lap? The fastest lap is a 1:11.5. Nobody's lapping anywhere close to that at the moment. I think we should be able to do that. Full tyre push, full battery push and a fuel burn. Should be able to take that away from Hamilton. I need, if I can, for PS3 to get back ahead of Russell, just to really help out with the point situation. Don't know if he's going to have the pace to do it. Russell's got much better tyres than we do. It's not just the status of getting third, it's the prize money as well. I mean, in reality, the extra money is nice, but the extra testing time next season and aero time, etc. Oh, Russell's in the wall. Is that a safety car? It's just a yellow right now. Russell's binned it.
Oh, and that's a crash. Let's have a look.
And that changes the constructors' situation massively. It does mean that it's also going to be incredibly hard to get fastest lap now, because he's going to pit for a new front wing
That was a...
and soft tyres. Alright, let's see if I can stay with Gasly. Gasly's tyres are going to wear out over the next couple of laps. Let's see if I can actually get back ahead of Gasly. Oh, Jesus, Hamilton's up to third now. No, he's up to second. My God, Hamilton's going to win this bloody race, isn't he? I think Hamilton's on for a potential win here. If he can keep his pace up, that would be horrendous.
So let's focus on the race now.
Russell is out of the points, but he's going to... Russell, if he takes fastest lap...
That's a position gained for AlphaTauri.
And lift off. Copy. Box.
We're not going to rely on
Copy for box.
Russell taking the fastest lap.
Copy.
I mean, that would work for us as well, but we're not going to rely on that. Oscar's dropped off the back. Got some battery though. Can I close that gap back down? So this is the new situation in the Constructors' Championship. We have an 11-point gap. Mercedes are going to get 19 points for fastest lap and second place. We're going to get 8 points for 6th place.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
There are 7 laps to go. Schumacher is ready to make his glory run.
Big push now. Copy.
Alright, this is an important lap here for Mick to take that bonus point away from Lewis and Mercedes. Oscar is not closing up to Gasly. Gasly's tyres are still better than mine. Damn it. Alright, I'm just going to hold off Ocon, whose tyres are better than mine. At least I managed to get some battery in the car. Mick is not purple in the first sector, that's not good. Purple in the middle sector though, that is good. Come on, fastest lap please. There we go. Beautiful. A 1:10.5. Okay, Russell is doing 1:11.4s. That's fine. Soul's locked up. It's one of the McLarens. It's Norris.
I think there's been a lock-up.
Doesn't really help. Right, this is now a massive fight. We need to hang with him and then use our battery to reclaim the position on the last lap or two. Got to get that 6th place back. Current standings, it's now a 10-point gap. We can increase that to 12 if we can swap places with Ocon. Steady, Oscar. Safety car now would do us no favours. We wouldn't have time to capitalise on coming in for a set of softs. We have to make do with what we've got, which is very worn hards. Hamilton has broken away from Verstappen. He's 2 seconds off Leclerc. Please don't let him win this race.
Watch fuel.
Damn it.
Copy. We need lift off. Lift off.
Didn't realise I'd left the fuel burn on for Mick now.
Save fuel.
Right.
Copy.
2 laps to go. We're almost there. this potential position swap could decide third place in the championship. If we end up winning the Constructors by a point by passing Ocon here, this will be massive. How you doing, Marcel? Alright, so this is the crucial part. We need to make the pass here. The inside. Made it stick. And there we go. We should be able to stay ahead now. We've got enough battery to do so. And there we go. Leclerc wins by 1.8 seconds from Hamilton, so Hamilton did not win, thankfully.
Save fuel and follow that. Copy.
There we go, and Mick is the last driver on the lead lap. Everyone else has been lapped, so we held on to 6th, so that'll keep us 12 points ahead of Mercedes going into the final race of the season.
Over the line.
I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, but good job. Drive offline, save fuel.
Charles gets his 3rd win of the season.
A brilliant performance from the HAAS driver. This is a good result for HAAS, more than enough to satisfy the whole team.
Just a really solid showing out there, which is exactly what they needed.
That's right, and they finished the race weekend in 3rd place in the constructor standings.
Formula One has almost reached its conclusion this year. Meet us next time in Abu Dhabi, between the desert and the sea, for an enthralling finale.
So, what a result for Hamilton. You know, climbed 15 places, and if the race had been an extra few laps, I think he could possibly even have taken the win from Leclerc. He was just rapid today. Sainz, another good recovery from him, 14 places up from starting down in 18th place. Oscar slips a couple. We knew that was going to happen. Unfortunately, we couldn't stay with Pierre, but we were able to capitalise on Russell's error. Having fought his way back up, he then speared his car into the barrier, broke his wing, had to pit, and a disappointing race for Mick, down 10 places, just another error-strewn race. But he did manage to steal the fastest lap away from Lewis Hamilton with a few laps to go. So although he won't get the bonus point because he didn't finish in the top 10, it does take that point away from Hamilton. So not only does he lose the point, but Mercedes also lose the point, which is why the gap is 12 and not 11. There is our drivers' standings. Win number 4 for Charles. He has 3 in that before that result. So win number 4 for him this season. He now takes over the top of the championship ahead of Max Verstappen. 6 points the gap going into the final race of the season. Is Max going to win the title, or is Charles going to get his first title? Look at the difference in performance in terms of race wins. 8 wins for Max, only 4 for Charles, but he's had 1 extra podium. Look at the pole position difference as well. 13 pole positions for Max, 5 pole positions for Leclerc, but Leclerc has just been more consistent throughout the season, which is why he's got more points. Another good result for Sainz, keeps him well away from Perez. That battle is now decided. So these are your top 3. Carlos Sainz is confirmed as P3. He's not going to improve on that. It is literally just down to the top 2 going into the final race. That's going to be an exciting battle. Oscar has had his gap to Lewis reduced by 10 points. He is now just 17 points clear. He should stay ahead of Hamilton going into the final weekend. Unless he has a bad race, in which case Lewis might potentially outscore him. Mick does not gain any ground on Russell, which is a shame. The gap's still 5 points. That's all to play for between those two going into the final weekend. Another result for Bottas, 4 more points. Good result for Pierre Gasly, 10 points. Takes him up to 72. Pulls him clear of, comfortably clear now of Fernando Alonso. But it doesn't look like it's going to change anyone's final standings. Daniel Ricciardo picking up the final point of the race to get himself up to 9 points, just 1 away from double figures. And there's the constructors, 37-point haul for Ferrari. Has confirmed Ferrari now as the constructors champions for the season. They've only won 6 races. Red Bull have won 9. But again, that consistency of Ferrari against Red Bull is what's won them the constructors title. The gap is now 60 points. The maximum that's available is 44. So is it 44? Yeah, 44 is the maximum number of points available. So Red Bull cannot catch Ferrari now. HAAS 11 points clear of Mercedes. That is the only real battle in the Constructors' Championship now, for 3rd place. Alpha are pretty much not going to improve. Well, they can't improve. Alpine are probably not going to get enough points to overtake Alfa Romeo. AlphaTauri, unlikely to get enough points to overhaul Alpine. McLaren, nothing to fight for. Aston Martin aren't going to score points, and neither are Williams. So, yeah, the only real battle still to be decided in the constructors in reality is 3rd place. That is going to be a very, very interesting battle to see. We get development points for Mick and for Logan, nothing for Oscar, despite him having a cracking number of points earned at the end of the weekend. An exceptional race for him, an impressive race for Mick. Could have been better. In terms of our sponsors, we lose the finish position streak that we just started, a 2-race streak, because we didn't get both cars in the top 10, and as a result we cannot start another streak until next season now. So we will not get the benefit of a streak bonus at the end of the next race, which is a bit of a shame. Although the quali streak is still going, as long as we can keep that going in the next weekend, we will get a payout of, I think, about $500,000. Right, let's check the emails. There's our debrief. Engine cooling is a problem with the car, which we know about. Mixed defending could be better, but a lot of mixed stats could be better. The board are happy with the results. Got some scouting in on Dirk de Beer and Jared Murphy as potential replacements for Aaron Melvin. As you can see, Jared's stats are considerably better than Aaron's, but it's unlikely even at the end of the season, it's unlikely that Jared is going to want to sign for us. Tondi is going to be a free agent, so there's a chance that we could sign him. It says age 62. Don't forget, this game is this file was started pre-tire patch, where his stat was at 61 starting age. It's actually 41. So that will change if we were to sign him. That should, I think, default change down. I'm not sure. Let's see. Do we have any points to spend for our staff? No, and no. Long way off a point for Pedro. Jorn's a long way off a point. Jorn's only got one more race with the team. I'm going to replace him at the end of the season. Aaron is 4 weeks away from getting another point. Simone Resto is 2 weeks away from getting another point. So that will definitely come into play going into next year's car, if they're still there. Simone Resto will probably still be with us. We'll see what happens with the aero. Right, our drivers. We know that Mick has a point. Going to improve his braking. Oscar, no points. How far away is he from another point? He'll get one at the end of the race. Logan has a point, and improve Logan's cornering pace. If we can get Logan's cornering pace up, he's not far away from being ready for the car. He's got good braking, good reactions. His cornering needs to be about 15 points higher. His smoothness isn't great, but it's about the same level as Oscar. Oscar's is at 60 right now. We need to work on Oscar's reactions, and we need to work on Logan's cornering. But that might be our driver lineup next year. Let's see, any other emails? No, that's all the emails done. Let's check out our car developments. 5 days to go till the underfloor's done, so that's going to clear while we're in Abu Dhabi, so we won't be able to do anything about that until we'll start the next project, till we finish the race weekend. But we should have time to get one more project in. Let's check our finances. We've got 12.5 mil. Facility wise, I think we're already upgrading the design center. Yes, we are. I'm going to hang on to the cash, even though I could invest in another development slot here. Nothing to upgrade there. Everything there is okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Up and coming driver. Oh, she's the first female driver that's been recommended to me. That's what's her baseline stat? 39. Okay, that's not particularly good. How old was she? She was 19, I think. Yeah. So she'll develop into a decent driver, but not a great driver. Not at 39 rating at 19 years old. She won't become a top tier driver. There we go. That is the end of our stream, and quick look ahead at the upcoming events. Obviously, we've got the Grand Prix, which we'll do next Friday, the final race of the season. We'll also have research to finish, and then research to get started. We'll have our end of season review straight after the Grand Prix. Then right after that, car development will be locked. So if we're lucky, and a car development is just manufacturing and designing, so we can still do research. So we might be able to squeeze in a couple more projects. I think we'll only get one more in. So yeah, we've got we've got some interesting things coming up in the next episode, and we will also be resolving the future of Mick Schumacher at the end of the stream next week as well, deciding whether or not to offer him one last contract or to replace him with Logan, or maybe even someone like Fernando Alonso. We'll see who is interested in joining the team at the end of the Grand Prix weekend, once we get to the end of the season on December 31st. So that's it for this week's streamings. I'll be back on Monday with the next instalment of our Williams career. We'll be heading to France for the home Grand Prix for our engine supplier Renault, and our two drivers, Théo Pourchaire and Pierre Gasly, with our Williams playthrough. And then it'll be Williams Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then next Friday we'll finish off this HAAS season. So until then, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon.